10 live wires will be given a unique opportunity to share their creativity with the world and become the next top live wire. I'm your host, Heather Boyd Wire, and this is Live Wires for the Win. 8 weeks of wire art challenges will count down to one winner of the grand prize, a collaboration video on my YouTube channel, a $100 gift certificate for my Etsy shop, and $500 worth of wire and tools from Beadalon. This is an elimination series with a twist. Viewers will be able to participate in the weekly challenges, share photos of their work, and win great prizes. Your judges will be wire artist Heather Boyd, multimedia artist and author Patricia Srigley, and a weekly mystery judge. Let's meet this week's live wires. Leslie, Amy, Tim, Linda, Terry, Peggy, Melody, Amber. So guys, welcome back to week 3 of Live Wires for the Win. Welcome back to my friend and creative collaborator, artist, author, Patricia Srigley. And today's guest judge is Serena Miller. Now, Serena is the founder of We Two, the Women's Entrepreneurial Exchange Networking Group. She is creator of The Spirit of Biz and has been helping women make their business dreams come true for over a decade. Serena is also a talented illustrator and artist and has explored crown and jewelry making. Welcome, Serena. I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you so much.
Now, everybody, in all transparency, I have to say that this week's judging session is a retake. This is take 2 because sadly I had technical difficulties and the first session was deleted as I didn't have enough space on my computer. So we're all human, right? Or we're all machines.
Indeed.
So now we're doing take 2. We are going to review our results from the first session. And without further ado, we're just going to go for it. This week's theme is Flight of Fancy. So the idiom means an imaginative but unrealistic idea, but participants were invited to interpret the theme in any way they liked. They can focus on the idea of flight or let their imaginations run wild and think outside the box. As always, the sky is the limit. Let's start with Leslie. So Leslie writes, I'm always striving for what seems to be impossible. So I felt it fitting to make a crown. The base is made from 12 gauge aluminum with the weave portion in 24 gauge wire. The crystals were an add-on at the last minute because I wanted to try something a bit fancy.
Hi Heather. I had quite a few challenges with this crown. This is the second one I made. The first one went all lopsided. I realized I needed more stability in the crown. The crystals are optional. I think the recipe to make it is really easy, so hopefully people like it.
So why don't I start? And Les did a very interesting and different piece. As I had said in the first session, when I first looked at the piece, I actually didn't tell the fine detail of the base was all like woven wire. To me, when I first glanced, it looked like one of those aluminum pie pans, which I thought was kind of funky, you know, and it looks very space age and with the little kind of antenna thing at the top. So I found it sort of interesting in a sense that it was very different from a lot of the other submissions, and the crystals are really cool too. So it really had that kind of magical feel to it, kind of science fiction type feel to it. So I thought that was really, really interesting. And Patricia, what did you think of Leslie's piece?
Oh, I really liked it. I liked the way the silver and the clear crystals all really held together, and all that wrapped wire gave it a very solid look. And I did love the addition of the crystals and the decorative one on top. And it's an original idea and an original design. And yeah, I was really impressed.
Cool, nice. And Serena, what did you think of Leslie's crown?
Yeah, I love Leslie's crown. You know me, I love a good crown. And I think that, you know, it really was a unique idea. You know, I felt like it had kind of a cosmic fairy princess, you know, science fiction type futuristic feel. I like the asymmetry, and I like the crystal with the silver wire. I thought it made like a nice, you didn't know where one began and the other ended. And I thought it was interesting. So very nice, very well done.
Now let's talk about Amy's piece. So Amy had some little video clips that we'll insert here, and she created a magical piece with fairies picking crystals out of the water garden.
This is the finished project. The fairies are fishing out crystals in the water garden. There's the crystals in the baskets. And this is the welcome mat, and the fairies spell welcome.
So Serena, would you like to start with Amy's piece?
Sure. Well, I loved Amy's piece. I thought it was just so magical, so unique. I loved the imagination and all the little details, from the baskets that hold the crystals, and even the fairies, the way they were constructed. They had such, you know, even though the wire technique might have been a little bit more raw or naive or whatever you want to call it, it was so emotional. I thought, like the way the fairies were constructed, really they had such nice personality. And yeah, I really fell in love with Amy's piece. It was great.
Awesome. And Patricia, what did you think of Amy's piece?
Same. I loved the idea, and you know, all the little details like the crystals in the baskets, and yeah, she does have a simple way, you know, a very simple, direct line shape to her pieces, but you know exactly what they are, and in spite of how simple they are. And so I feel that really communicates very well. And yeah, great job.
Nice. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I always adore Amy's imagination, her video clips explaining her enthusiasm. And I really love the design of the fairies. The wings are so simple and just nicely done, and the way their knees like are bent around and they're kneeling. Just to have them standing, you know, it's not easy to make freestanding wire sculptures. And true, the baskets with the crystals, they're so stylized and simple, but I love them. And the way she's woven the wire, just a little bit of wire underneath the basket, and you see it's a basket, even though it's not like tightly woven or in a traditional basket weave type of thing. And the crystals are just pieces of wire, but it's so effective. And then she had explained the word at the front is like a welcome mat, but she said that's the way the fairies spell welcome. So I thought that was adorable. Yeah, really, really sweet. No, I really love her work. It's beautiful.
Hi guys, just received the topic for this week. Glad I made it this far. For Flight of Fancy, I'm going to go back to my roots when I first started working with wire and try and make this pendant, although make it a little more fancy, so we'll see. Thanks, bye.
Next we have Tim. So Tim's piece represents a man free falling in the sky as a bird flies by. It's reminiscent of the early pendants he used to make. The swirls in the frame represent clouds and reinforce the idea of it being a scene in the sky. So Patricia, what do you think of Tim's piece?
Again, very impressive. It comes across as a really, you know, unified, strong piece. I find his work always has a very strong look to it because of the dense wire and the thickness of the wire. I really liked the different colors of wire as well. I really thought it turned out beautifully and very professional looking, and loved it.
Nice. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I love Tim's work. He has an extremely distinctive style, very solid pieces. I love how it really looks like a medallion. You know, you could see someone wearing this piece. And I love the way he filled in the man with wire, you know, very tightly woven around or wound around. And that's a challenge to make wire work look solid. And he's done it in a very a clean, very, you know, beautiful way. And the swirls in the back are it's perfect what you said about them representing the clouds, and it also gives the piece a little bit of movement, you know, with the spirals. And Serena, what did you think of Tim's piece?
Oh, I thought it was great, and I agreed. It has a nice, it has movement, you know, it has movement even though it feels solid. And I love the different sizes of wire, the different color of wire. I love that, you know, he's taken the swirl from the clouds and put it on the chest of the man, and just those little details that are really well thought out, that kind of and it almost looks like three-dimensional, or like, you know, even though it's you know, somewhat flat, like it looks like,
you're right, it really does look three-dimensional. You know, when you look at it, you know, again, when you say that, like even more than, yeah, it really looks like the circle is far in the back when you look at it.
Far behind, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was really a lot of talent there, a lot of imagination, talent, and loved it.
The first thing I thought of when I saw Flight of Fancy was a phoenix. I have a granddaughter, baby, named Phoenix, and the center of my phoenix represents the moon, or Luna, who was her little sister, who unfortunately passed away at just a few days old.
So Linda created the phoenix, and she explained in her video how it represents her granddaughters. I'll start with this one. Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful piece, made from the heart, so much emotion. So it's so beautiful. I love the way the crystal in the middle, it just with the spiral of the wire around it, it almost looks like it just goes right into the heart of the phoenix. She didn't overkill with the beads. There's just, you know, a few beads around, and the weaving, and the way it hangs on the necklace is nice too. Like just design wise, it's a beautiful design that you could see wearing it. And of course the symbolism of the phoenix as well, the rebirth, and it's just beautiful. I really, really loved her piece. Yeah. And Patricia, what did you think of Linda's piece?
Same. I love the look. I love the sort of simplified shape of the phoenix, but it still comes across as the bird. And I made the same comment that I liked how she'd added a limited number of decorative crystals, but not enough to overwhelm the design.
Yeah.
And yeah, beautiful, loved it.
Nice, awesome. And Serena, what did you think of Linda's phoenix?
I thought it was really well done. I love the the symbolism behind it all, and the moonstone right in the center. I love the story, and I just think, much like you, the way it was constructed, not overdone, but the thought that went into how it hangs on the necklace by the wings, by the two, instead of like a single pendant. I thought that was really, really clever, and I thought it was just, it gives it a very special feeling, and I just thought it was so well done, and I love this piece.
Next we have Terry, and Terry writes, this piece started out as a frame shaped like a wing and then metamorphosed into whatever it is, a bird, a bug, a butterfly. It's done in silver-plated rose gold wire. Patricia, what would you like to say about Terry's piece?
Yeah, I was very impressed. And again, when I looked at the shape, I could see it both as a butterfly and a fairy. So I thought it worked to look like it was flying. And the cute little head and the antenna, and even the details of the wire wrapping of the connection. Not being a wire person, I don't know what you call that.
The bail at the top.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought it was very beautiful.
Nice. And Serena, what did you think of Terry's piece?
So for Terry's piece, yeah, I thought it was so exceptionally well done. She has a very skilled way of constructing these. I mean, beautifully done, so well wrapped and tight, and the pattern and the repeats are just so beautiful. I kind of read butterfly from it, and just beautiful piece. And yeah, she's clearly very talented.
Yeah, I agree. It totally reads as a wing, but yes, could be interpreted as a butterfly, a bird. I didn't see the fairy so much, but in looking at it, I can see that as well. I love the weaving. I've been making wire work for 30 years and I still am not a wire weaver whatsoever. It's difficult to get it so clean and so even like that. So she definitely nailed the weaving. It looks really, really good. I think the only critique what I would have of this one is a little more variety in the color. I mean, the rose gold is lovely. And if that's probably her intention to have sort of a tone on tone effect, which is very beautiful. But that would be the only little detail I would say. Other than that, it's a beautiful piece for sure. Next we have Peggy. Peggy writes, the first thing I thought about with this theme was fairies. What's more fancy than a flying fairy? I didn't think that was enough. So as she was flying along, she collected a few pets and put them on leashes, a butterfly, a bird, a dragonfly, all beautifully fancy little creatures flying in the sky. I also gave her a fancy little braid that flies behind her in the wind. The last thing I wanted to do was to try and make her look like she was flying. I didn't know if I should do it with a cloud, a spring, or some sort of stand. So I settled on a stand of shooting stars. So Serena, you want to start with this one?
Sure.
With Peggy's?
Yeah. So this is such a beautiful, whimsical piece. I love the idea. I loved all the little creatures that are flying with this fairy. And I thought her technique was really special and different. You know, her wide loops, but it still has that, you know, very airy, it gives you that feeling of flying, and you can see that it's a fairy with those double wings. I just think it was just so well done. Beautiful.
Nice. And Patricia, what did you think of Peggy's piece?
I fell in love with it. I just looked at it and the emotion of it, like to me, it looked like this little fairy was really almost flying off the stars, and especially because of the tilt and the direction of her little balloon pets and her hair. And no, I just absolutely loved it. And I felt she had really captured this emotion so well.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Yeah, Peggy's piece is really beautiful. I love the spring. You really feel like she's just like taking off and flying. And the wings are simple and they're echoed in the loops of her skirt as well. And like you said, Serena, it's still airy, even though there's a lot of wire, it's still airy, feels like she's flying. And the little stars are sweet too. So you see that she's above the stars and flying high in the sky. I think my only critique of this one would be like the little leashes of the bird and the butterfly and the dragonfly could have maybe just been a little finer wire, just to give the sort of impression of lightness. But other than that, a beautiful piece. Nice that she used 2 tones of wire, and really, really sweet. I love the way it just stands, free stands as well. Looks great, and her little feet hanging down are so cute.
This is Fairy Lightbright. She's strong. She's had to rebuild an arm and a hand a couple times. This is the first time I've ever done a fairy sculpture, so that was exciting. But she's carrying a flower of light into the darkest places of the forest.
So next we have Melody. So Melody writes, Fairy Lightbright was a blast to create. I had her in several different poses along the way, as well as an array of accessories ranging from a staff to a lantern, a flower, and then decided to finish with a flower of light. So why don't I start with Melody's piece? Yes, a super lovely piece. I know the struggle of making a piece like that. That's very solid and 3-dimensional. I've tried a lot of figures like that where you start with like just a basic wire frame and then build it up with the wire. And that's a lot of wire in there, I can tell you. It's definitely, she's sculpted it with a lot of little swirls of wire. They call that a chaos wrap, where you take wire and just like wind it around loosely like that. And looks amazing, gives also a sense of movement in the piece. Her wings are lovely with the little lines inside. And I love the idea of the flower with the light in it to make your way through the forest and bring light in the forest. So, and the way it dangles and the video she showed with it moving, it's just, it's a very lovely piece. I could see that hanging outside, you know, on your deck and looking out at it, and beautiful, beautiful piece. And Serena, what did you think of this piece?
I agree. I mean, I was blown away by this piece. Melody really brought the idea of, you know, flights of fancy to life. And she really was, I think, someone who made her piece fly, like actually fly. And it was just wonderful. And everything from the flower that, you know, glows, it almost glows, to the proportion of the body, and, you know, that chaos wrap that you're talking about, it almost feels ephemeral, and like, you know, her body was created from fog or smoke, and that also has that feeling, and just really well done, very, very well done. And a lot of emotion there as well. Beautiful, beautiful. And Patricia, what did you think of Melody's piece?
Yeah, I agree with what both of you have said. It's an amazing piece. What I particularly liked was the pose. It looked like she was flying and holding her head up proudly as she carries her lantern and explores. And the beautiful little light lantern. And yeah, it was very solid as well because of all the wire wrap. And it was beautiful, very impressive.
Yeah, I love that observation of holding her head up high proudly, and even the long elongated neck, you know, it's true. It's, I love these conversations because we all have our different observations, but yet it really makes it makes you see more in the piece. And that's what I'm loving about this show, is it's really a conversation. And if viewers want to, you know, say their observations in the comments of the video as well, we welcome, you know, all, and we're learning together, you know, that's what I love about this wire community. It's fantastic. So our last participant is Amber. So Amber writes, for week 3, I made winged anklets inspired by the winged sandals worn by Hermes in the old Greek mythology. So Patricia, would you like to start with Amber's?
Okay, yeah. I thought her idea was great. It's unique and different from the others. She pulled it off. You know, it's a good size. I guess the only thing I felt was they were a bit minimalist. Like I felt they should maybe be filled in a bit more or smaller and denser, because with the wire outline, it was a bit hard to read it. So yeah, but I love the idea, very unique.
Yeah, for sure. And Serena, what did you think of Amber's wings?
I love that it's wearable art. I thought that was really clever. I love the idea and the story, and, you know, you can't help but feel powerful if you're to put those things on and just, you know, with a pair of sandals or, you know, flip-flops, and just go walking. And so beautiful idea. I think that's a really good observation, Patricia, about, you know, maybe a thicker wire would have been. I love the little detailed beads that, you know, wasn't too much, but just enough ornamentation. But great, you know, put a pink ribbon on them and I'd wear them.
Nice. Yeah, I could see you wearing them, Serena, totally. For sure. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I thought they were super fun. And she has kids, and I'm sure her kids were all like, Mom, I want some too. And I remember as a kid, I used to make wings out of cardboard and actually like jump off my front steps of my house and believe that I could fly. And I even did it the other day. I had an umbrella in my hand and I jumped off my front steps with the umbrella thinking I would float, and I kind of tripped. I didn't face plant, so that was good. But anyways, we get carried away sometimes. But I thought the idea was brilliant. I just love that idea. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like that before. I've seen, you know, beaded sandals and some other things, but I think she's onto something. I'm sure a lot of people would wear those for sure. Yeah, maybe do use a slightly thicker wire or fill them in a little bit, because if you're going to wear them too, you wouldn't want them to catch or to, you know, to come apart or whatever. But as a concept, I thought they were brilliant. I thought they were so cool, and I want to make some. Yeah, for sure. Cool. So guys, now comes the part where we decide one winner of these challenges, and sadly one person that has to go home. It's just the nature of the beast, nature of the type of challenge that we're doing, working our way down. And so why don't we start by just saying either our top one or two, and then we'll just have a little discussion that way. Patricia, would you like to start by saying your top one or two?
All right. Yeah, my top pick was Peggy. Like I said, I really had an emotional reaction to her piece and just fell in love with it. So my second top pick was Melody with the large hanging fairy.
Nice. Beautiful. And Serena, what were your top one or two?
Yeah, my top was Melody with the fairy. I just thought that was just so well done and beautiful piece. Yeah, can't help but feel happy when you see it.
Awesome. So nice. And so I had two top ones. Melody's for sure. I really loved her piece with the way she built it up and the way that it was hanging and flying. I really thought that was a beautiful piece. And then my second was Amber. I just thought it was so much fun, and it brought out the kid in me, and I really loved that. I would honestly like to make some of those. I just think they're the coolest things for sure. But so we have a consensus. The winner of this week's challenge is Melody. Yay! Awesome. Yeah. So congratulations, Melody. You made a beautiful piece. Everybody made such beautiful pieces this week. It's always so hard to choose. Yeah. And now comes the even harder part where we just choose one person that has to go home. But it's not the end of the journey, because they can still participate in the Facebook group. I have a Facebook group now, Live Wires for the Win, and viewers can also participate in the challenges. You can post pictures of your work based on the themes in the group. And then at the end of the 8 weeks, you can email me 8 images or a collage of 8 images of all 8 challenges for chances. Viewers have a chance to win all kinds of great prizes, and we're not judging the viewers' work. So anything goes, use your imagination, think outside the box. And so this week we have the difficult task of sending somebody home. So Serena, would you like to give a little bit feedback for that?
So this was very difficult for me. I know how I've tried wire. I've tried working with a wire once or twice and following things, and I know how difficult it is. So this was, I admire each and every contestant. Really, truly. For me, I think although so technically advanced and beautiful, I think Terry would have to be the one, simply because the other contestants had a little bit of a clearer vision about what they were trying to convey in terms of Flights of Fancy, even though ornamentally speaking, it was just so exquisite. And this is so difficult. I think it's just for that the idea behind it was more solid for the others.
Understand for sure. And Patricia, what's your feedback on this?
Yeah, I had two. Again, I found this week particularly hard. So the two I felt whose work was less strong, I agree. Terry, because her idea, like she said, got a bit lost. And Amber, because I felt the piece could have developed a bit.
Okay, interesting. And and me too. I had two as well. So one was Leslie, simply because on first glance I had a little bit of trouble distinguishing the wire. Like I said, I had, it kind of threw me off a little bit at the beginning because I thought it looked a little bit like sort of an aluminum section, but that's my own perception. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with the piece. It had a definitely like really cool cosmic feel to it. But then the other one that I felt was also Terry, simply because it was all done with the same tones. I felt it maybe could have had a little bit more variety. Also true that it could have had like a little more clear idea of the theme or explanation of the theme as well. So sadly, Terry, we're going to have to say goodbye to you this week. Your piece was gorgeous. The weaving is so impressive. I can't wait to see what you continue to share in the Wire Makers Club on Facebook, and I hope you continue with the challenges in the Live Wires for the Win Facebook group as well. And thank you to everybody for your amazing, amazing participation in this challenge. So inspiring, so many ideas. And thank you, Patricia, for every week hopping on to help with this, and Serena for your great input and insight, and for coming back for take 2. Yeah, that was crazy that happened, but it's all good. I think we just kind of reiterated what we said the first time, and yeah, so thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next week. Yeah. Bye.
Have fun and good luck, contestants.
Nice.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Live Wires for the Win. Be sure to tune in each week and participate in the challenges on our Facebook event page. If you complete all 8 challenges based on the weekly themes, you will be eligible to win all kinds of great prizes from Beadalon. Details are in the description below underneath the video.